This is a special report of the Sleep Did It channel. Pharmacy chain Rite Aid has again filed for bankruptcy and is closing their doors forever. Follow me as I attempt to tour every Rite Aid in South Jersey. I'm traveling from store to store to see what is left. We have so much to see and a short time to see it all in. So before they fill the final prescription and sell the last item, let's take a look at the chain that was Rite Aid.
Starting today, Rite Aid will no longer be honoring Rite Aid gift cards or accepting any returns or exchanges. It all comes as the Philadelphia-based pharmacy chain deals with bankruptcy. Rite Aid stores are expected to close starting this month. CVS has bought most of Rite Aid's prescription files, and the CVS website is already welcoming Rite Aid patients, giving them the ability to transfer their prescriptions in 3 steps online.
And welcome to our final video in the series of Rite Aids of South Jersey. We begin this one in Vineland, New Jersey on Lincoln Avenue. And we're immediately greeted by a thank you sign, which in my opinion should read "Thanks for the memories."
Hello.
As by now, every Rite Aid in New Jersey has shuttered. And now I have Rite Aid branded shopping bags in my trunk, along with the Wawa, Walmart, ShopRite, and Acme ones. Now, I'd filmed this back in May, and this was before the liquidation sale, but they were already liquidating the liquids here. As you can see, pretty much every drink that was in the stock room was put out in the freezers and coolers, and also on the shelves. They were trying to liquidate this. Bad joke, I know. And yes, it means more empty shelves at Rite Aid. But it seems that the freezers and coolers were working pretty well, judging by the condition of the ice cream and whatnot in there. It also seems that the lack of truck deliveries had really taken its toll on this particular one. We're in the seasonal department. See a little Halloween and unsold Easter stuff. Yeah, this was one of 2 places where I saw Halloween stuff, if I remember correctly. Yep, Christmas lights, not a surprise there, and summer stuff, and who knows where the unsold items made their way to. If you know, comment below. But it just so happened that my niece's birthday was coming up, so I figured I'd get her a birthday card. And well, since I don't know what she's into, because, well, other than arts and crafts and stuff, I decided that a better idea as far as a gift would be a fresh $10 bill. I know, I do gift cards for some people, but for others, cash money works probably even better. Oh well. But now the fun part is trying to find an age-appropriate birthday card for a girl that doesn't look like it was given to her by a girl, but looks like it was given to her by an uncle. Yeah, some of the ones are too girl power for me to even pick up. I'm sorry.
The fun part, trying to find actually this one. Yeah. Right size. That would do.
What surprised me was that they had gift cards in abundance over here. Meanwhile, Other items seem to be sparse. And seems like the SodaStream display was kind of hurting. And their reading material section was down to mostly those books about things that were in your town or in your community before you were here.
And yep, all the movies that couldn't sell.
And none of them were any that I'd find interesting.
All the CDs that couldn't sell.
And I go back to my previous comment on the DVDs.
That's 25 cents less than across the street.
Yes, across the street from this Rite Aid is a former Eckerd turned Dollar Tree. I guess when Rite Aid bought out Eckerd, they figured that since this location was modern enough, they didn't have to move across the street, so they just sold that Dollar Tree. I doubt if GNC is even restocking the shelves here, as half of them are empty.
Here's the fun part. Can we find Fisherman's Friend?
And of course, Fisherman's Friend is nowhere to be found. Not at this Rite Aid, not at any Rite Aid. All that's left from the stockroom is now on the shelves. And no longer Rite Aid has what you need, and definitely not when you need it. I honestly didn't think this store would last very long. Honestly, all they really need to do is put up the going out of business signs, because this store did look like it was in the midst of a liquidation. And I grabbed a low carb orange monster, one of my faves, and then made my way to get my purchases rung up by a friendly Rite Aid cashier.
Yeah, we'll see how I remember on Monday. Have a good one. You too.
And I've run into so many friendly and kind Rite Aid associates. I feel so bad for them. I do hope they've all been able to find work at some better places. Our next stop takes us to another Vineland location, this time on Main Road. As we enter this former Eckerd, we are greeted by the more optimistic early 2000s Rite Aid decor. And if I had forgotten to pick up shopping bags at the last one, they were in plenty here. And the as seen on TV section is barely holding on. And now we enter the seasonal section, and yep, unsold Easter baskets, unsold Easter items, Christmas lights. Man, I'm surprised they're there. and some Halloween stuff and summer items. And all the bottled water you could ever drink. Seeing this location still had plenty of snack food, but I'm trying to watch my diet. So as tempted as I was, yep, I took about as many things that were on the shelf to my left as I could. In other words, nothing. The freezers and the coolers seemed to be working, and there was plenty of thrifty ice cream and enough Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia to keep you trucking like the doodah man once told me. You gotta find your plan. Well, I've been saying no to the Ben & Jerry's, and I will tell you, I will get by. I will survive. But man, there were plenty of drinks here. And then we make our way to some of these other shelves where there's almost nothing. And Rite Aid's been putting boxes over on the bottom shelf to block them off, as if that fools anybody. It doesn't. And I'm kicking myself that I didn't pick up one of those combination baskets or wheeled carts at the liquidation sale near my house. I missed it by that much. Though, if anyone has one of those they'd like to sell for a reasonable price, not confiscatory price, hit me up. Yes, whole health truly is a journey. And for me, it starts by realizing that this Rite Aid is all out a fisherman's friend, and if I want any, I'm going to have to go to Walgreens or CVS. Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. If anyone has one on Facebook Marketplace, please hit me up. Now, this was a mistake on my part. I've been drinking the zero carb monsters, and I thought this was one, but when I got in my car, I looked at the label, and nope, it was not. And even the counters behind the register are almost completely empty. But now it's time to bring up my purchases and then make my way to the next Rite Aid, which, as you're going to see, it was half the store it used to be. And for our final stop in Vineland, New Jersey, we're on Landis Avenue. And as we enter, we see a false wall has been erected, and this has blocked off at least half, maybe even 60% of the retail space at this Rite Aid. And it's hard to see behind this, but I do take a peek later. But basically, the Food Mart portion of the Rite Aid has been moved out, And even then, this was again prior to the liquidation sale, there wasn't much left. That and the coolers were out of order.
Non-chocolate. Almond. This place has been hurting for a long time.
But we still have the seasonal section with Easter stuff, Christmas lights naturally,
Summertime.
and some things for summer. At this point, I decided to sneak peek at the back, and you see how they move the shelves. They even have the scar from where the shelves used to be on the floor. And these shelves back here were removed, and there's some more optimistic advertisements. But the barren sales floor behind those shelves tells a sadder story.
Let's see, cough and cold, do they have?
No, they didn't. There was no Fisherman's Friend. But I don't think you're surprised at this point. Well, neither was I.
Nope, no Fisherman's Friend. Wow.
And please note that humming noise you hear in this video. That was actually those coolers and freezers in the false wall there that were out of order. And yet they still were on, despite being out of order. You'd think they would unplug them and empty them, but guess they didn't really care. After all, it's going to be closed by the time you watch this, so why bother? Even with half the sales floor being used, many of the shelves were sparse or even empty. And you can tell what kind of neighborhood you're in because the detergent is under lock and key.
Really nothing here. Honestly, I almost feel sad. Really nothing here to...
Honestly, I couldn't find anything I really wanted to buy here. This was one of the few Rite Aids in which I left empty-handed. But we're leaving Vineland and going on to the next Cumberland County town, so stay tuned. My next visit was to Millville. And again, we're reminded that thank you is just the beginning. And then we enter the store and we realize it's the beginning of the end. Well, they're running low on batteries, and the photo kiosk is out of order. But, like most Rite Aids I'd been to during these trips, I found plenty of greeting cards, and even some reading material.
I already have that one. Yep.
And once again, we make our way through the seasonal section, get some summer stuff there, and a whole lot of water, bottled water as far as the eye can see. And of course, Christmas lights, Halloween themed shirts, more water, some more unsold Easter items, and sidewalk chalk. This time I read the labels a little closer to find the low carb monster. The fact that trucks had stopped making deliveries to Rite Aids while before I entered was painfully evident in the empty shelves. But at least the coolers and the freezer seemed to be working.
Oh, is this? This is the one I'm looking for, right?
Monster Ultra Blue Hawaiian. Become a new favorite of mine. Other than that, there was not much of what I needed and where I needed it here. But they still had plenty of Ben & Jerry's and, of course, their private label brand, Thrifty, which I've heard is now being sold at Albertsons supermarkets. And since Acme is owned by Albertsons, maybe we'll find it on store shelves in South Jersey yet again.
Let's see where the cough and cold. Let's see.
Restock your medicine cabinet. Yeah, right. No fisherman's friend, but we're not surprised anymore. And so I have to restock my medicine cabinet at either Walgreens or CVS these days.
Really nothing here. I don't really shop. I guess that's
So it was at this point that I decided I pretty much had everything I was looking for from this store, so I made my way up to the checkout counter, saw the unsold Easter baskets, and did the old self-checkout thing, and made my way out to the next store. Stay tuned for that.
You see these things?
Next, I made my way to Broad Street on the south side of Bridgeton, Cumberland County. We're immediately greeted by a tasty cake display that only has a couple of crimpets left. Didn't see any cards that would interest me. And over on the wall where the cards and celebrations section is, it was wall-to-wall drinks and water, because apparently, like all the other Rite Aids, they're just taking everything out of the stockroom and putting it on the shelf.
We have Mother's Day here. Father's Day.
Apparently, they successfully sold out of Mother's Day cards, but there was still some Father's Day cards left. And eventually, I did get a Father's Day card at another store.
Yep. Let's see what our seasonal looks like.
And we are greeted by rows of empty shelves, and we have some summer stuff, and Christmas lights and Easter stuff. Like I haven't seen that in other places. I think that,
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, that bunny was falling apart. It probably went through a few heat cycles in the back room before it made its way to the shelf.
You got it up here. Oh, no.
Whoever did the leveling here did a great job. Unfortunately, most of the shelves here were empty once you got a few feet down the aisle.
Oh, no more candy anymore. I used to love it too.
At least it appears the coolers and freezers were still working. And it means more empty end caps at Rite Aid. Empty end cap after empty end cap, as they clearly were winding down long before the liquidation sale even began. Even the GNC section wasn't living well. But on to the cough and cold section, and nope, no fisherman's friend. You could say I'm friendless. At this point, I figured I'd go back to the snack aisle and see if there was anything worth picking up. So I decided to read labels, which I used to never do, and seek out the low-calorie and sugar-free sweets, as I am trying to lose weight. And with my purchases in tow, it's time to get them rung up and make my way to our final stop in Cumberland County. So I traveled north in Bridgeton to the Pearl Street location.
Oh.
The first thing I checked out here was the Father's Day card display, just to see if there was any card that I would buy.
Not every day you find the perfect one, you know?
But such was the day that was. Meanwhile, a quick peek over at the photo kiosk shows the computer is up and running.
I have not seen one of those.
Too bad no one had used it or would ever again. What was once the book section has become a section for periodicals, which are fastly becoming books. Meanwhile, we have rows and rows of empty shelves. Then we come over to the seasonal department, get the summer stuff. Got energy drinks, sports drinks, Easter baskets. And here's a surprise, Christmas lights and more summer stuff. At first glance, you might think these shelves are full of cases of bottled water, but there's really nothing behind each case. Note the use of boxes on the bottom shelf to kind of take up space, if you will. Looks like the lights in the frozen cases have burned out, and there's barely any ice cream left, especially the Ben & Jerry's. The Talenti, from where I could see through the glass, looked like it had melted previously and refrozen. While some end caps had products still on them, the ones that said "it means more" that were empty were quite ironic, if you ask me.
Wow.
And the only good news is this is the last time in this video that you'll see me fail to find Fisherman's Friend. I never found it. Ever. Again. At Rite Aid. If you ask me, I think that GNC stopped having anything to do with these shelves long before Rite Aid did. And in cosmetics, the perfume display is almost empty. That stinks. As I was thinking about getting a snack at the checkout counter, what I didn't notice until now was all the laundry detergent behind the counter. That's a red flag. But enough about that. Let me just get my purchases rung up and make my way on to the last stop on our tour. And now I end this series in Wildwood at the last Rite Aid in Atlantic County and on its second to last day in operation. And just what you would expect from a store that will be closing the very next day. Most of the shelves are empty and blocked off, so we're not going to be able to get to much of the store. Though I did kind of sneak around a bit.
Other stuff here, there ain't nothing. Not much left, huh? Yeah, glad I got here before it closed.
I didn't even have to look for Fisherman's Friend. Wasn't going to find it.
Oh, shoot.
Busted.
Well, the picture's
But at least I
still
wasn't
here,
the
yeah.
only one.
Oh, shoot. I took a wrong turn.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I can't go through there, so I'll go around here.
Oh well.
Yeah, there is nothing here. Keys are still on. Okay, which way? Oh, shoot. Ah.
Apparently all that was left were the greeting cards. And by the way, they were marked down at a very deep discount. Now this is the card that I initially picked, but before I boogie, I wonder if there's a better card that I could get.
That's a good one. Now, where's anniversary? Where did that get? Truth, yeah, it probably is better color. Oh, here we go.
I think you just crossed it out.
And that was the card that I went with.
99. Okay.
All out of gift cards, and the photo kiosk is out of order. Little dust on the shelves, I guess.
Only birthday cards. Let me find anniversary.
Definitely dust on the shelves, and all we are is dust in the wind.
Anniversary cards. It's only birthday cards. The only thing that managed to not get sold. Oh well. Oh.
At this point, I thought I'd check one more time to see if there was any gift cards left, but there wasn't. And now it's time for me to get my purchase rung up for the last time at a Rite Aid. This would be a monumental moment.
Gift wrap.
I took a look at the last of the gift wrap, but couldn't find anything I'd be interested in buying.
Yes, it's all.
Would you believe that card only cost me 19 cents? And with that purchase, we end the series on the Rite Aids of South Jersey. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, tell a friend. Check out my merch. The link is in the description. Have a great day out there, folks, and I'll see you on the next video.
Let's talk a little bit about telephone manners.
Okay.
Why do you think it's important to use proper telephone manners when answering the phone?
Because we want to be pleasant and professional when we deal with our customers. Not only in person, but on the telephone as well.
That's exactly right, John. Our customers can't see us when we're talking to them by telephone, so we need to use the right tone of voice and language when we interact with them on the phone. So, what is the proper greeting we should use when answering the telephone.
The training session of Take 10 is a perfect time to interact with associates and get their thoughts and ideas. At the conclusion of the training topic discussion, make sure to emphasize the 3 learning points listed on the front of your Take 10 card.